We are announcing today the long-awaited plans to cut property taxes in Colorado. And I just want to compliment everybody, the business community, and we have the chamber here, Colorado Concern, teachers and education, legislators, for going about this in a thoughtful way, because it's a very serious topic. It's easy to talk about what the problem is. Property tax rates have gone up too much. We want to make sure we relieve and provide and cut property tax rates by about 50% of the increase. At the same time, we want to make sure we don't defund our schools protection districts. So I think this is a very thoughtful policy. It'll go to the voters this November. I'm confident it'll pass. I want to thank legislative leaders championing this effort: President Fenberg, Majority Leader Moreno, Majority Leader Duran, Speaker McCluskey, Speaker Pro Tem DeGray Kennedy, and Representative Weissman and Senator Hansen. These are folks who have really worked tirelessly. I also want to thank Kerry Kennedy, Kevin, with the team for doing a lot of analysis work on these. Are very important policies to get right. Look, there's a strong coalition calling out for property tax relief. First and foremost, homeowners in our state face record increases if we don't act. This will decrease the property tax rate for every homeowner in our state. It also helps reduce the rate for businesses and puts in place a truth in taxation mechanism to prevent rates from going up over time. I want to thank Mike Kopp with Colorado Concern, who supports this initiative, David Eddy from Boeing, Rick Sapkin from Jen Walmer, Democrats for Education Reform, Kevin Vick, Colorado Education Association, Scott Wasserman, Bell Policy Institute. Really just so you can see kind of left and right coming together to find a way to cut property taxes in our state in a sustainable way. Last session, we did a 2-year cut. I think what people of our state want to see is how do we have predictability and low property tax rates for the future. This does that for a decade. And I think that'll be one less thing for Colorado, where property taxes increasing at a too fast a rate. Most importantly, we have folks who are going to share their actual stories about what this property tax cut means for them. We have Daniel Ramirez, the owner of Los Dos Potrillos, which is a restaurant paying the commercial tax rate. This rate brings down the commercial tax rate. Rosa Buenuelos, a homeowner, a retired senior who faces major increases in her bill. And Brooke Zerbato, someone who feels these increases in her own life, Realtor in her professional life. So look, we've seen huge growth in home values in Colorado. That's because Colorado is a great place to live, and we are working, as you know, on changing our housing policy to make sure there's more homes that people can afford for rent, for purchase. But the fact that home prices have gone up drives property taxes up, and they've gone up at a rate significantly faster than inflation. And we need to provide relief now to make sure that people can afford to live in their own home, and that's a basic value. People should live just because the value of their home has gone up. Brooke, who's here with us today since 2019, her home property taxes have nearly doubled, and without this action, her taxes would go up $1,300 next year. Rose Buenuelos' taxes have tripled since 2020, and without action, her taxes would go up $900 next year. And Daniel Ramirez has similar increases as a small business owner of a restaurant. Last year, we took major steps, $1 billion in property tax relief, but that was over 2 years. Today, we're bringing forward the long-term solution. Really 3 things that we are setting out to solve. Number 1, immediate property tax relief with predictability over time. We're doing that. Number 2, address some of the problems that Gallagher created, the Gallagher Amendment, now repealed by the voters. That put Colorado in a worse competitive environment because it increased the rate on non-residential property, on businesses. We want Colorado to be competitive, to attract good jobs here. This helps address the tax rate for non-residential businesses over time. And third, a mechanism to prevent rates from going up faster than income. After a lot of thoughtful deliberation, we arrived on the truth in taxation mechanism. Our neighboring state of Utah has this. It has a lot of data that shows that this is a very effective way to prevent increases in property tax that exceed people's ability to pay them. Under this proposal, Colorado voters will see their average property tax increase go from over the exact amounts, depend on where you live, the value of your home, the increase in the value of your home, but just so you're looking at this as the state average, from over a $1,000 increase to about a $400 increase when this passes in November. This proposal would immediately reduce the assessment rate, that's the percentage that people pay on their property value for their home or their business. It would give every homeowner a $40,000 reduction that they don't pay 0 taxes on. So the first $40,000 of your home value, 0 paid. And it caps property tax collections to the rate of inflation. That's a long-term replacement to the Gallagher Amendment that will help make sure that Colorado remains one of the lowest home property tax states. This is also good for Colorado businesses and renters. We're proposing lowering tax assessments on businesses by over 10% over the next decade, saving businesses hundreds of millions of dollars and fixing the distortion that Gallagher led to. 3 years ago, we came together to repeal the Gallagher Amendment with a thoughtful way to prevent undue increases in property tax. I just have a few words to say in Spanish, and then I'll turn it over to Senator Fenberg. Hoy estamos anunciando una nueva propuesta para ahorrarle dinero a los habitantes de Colorado en sus impuestos sobre la propiedad. La mayoría de las personas en todo el estado recibieron sus nuevas valoraciones por correo la semana pasada y se sorprendieron al ver que su vivienda, al igual que sus impuestos. Esta solución a largo plazo le brindará a los votantes de oportunidad de evitar fuertes aumentos en sus facturas de impuestos mientras nos aseguramos de proteger los servicios locales críticos como bomberos y educación. Este noviembre, los votantes de Colorado podrán votar para reducir la factura que el promedio es de $1,000 a alrededor de $400, ahorrando a la mayoría de dólares en los próximos años y también los negocios pequeños. Esta propuesta no solo benefició a los dueños de propiedad, pero también a los dueños de negocio y a las personas que rentan. Gracias, and I'd now like to present Senate President Steve Fenberg.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here today, and thank you to the governor for your leadership on this issue. I don't think many people need a whole lot of, we all think Colorado is a great place to live and to raise a family. And that's why our population has grown so quickly, and it's why property values have jumped as well. And now, that is catching up to us. We are feeling the pain of what that has caused. Coloradans are preparing to get hit with painful property tax spikes. And that's why we are here today. We are here today to take action now, to meet the moment and provide real ways. Our proposal has the ability to deliver long-term reductions while providing immediate savings on this year's property taxes. We're so excited to finally be at a place where we are sharing the details with all of you today. Last November, voters put their trust in many of us to build a better Colorado for all. They trusted us to tackle the big problems facing our state and seek transformative, sustainable solutions that will propel. We are putting our trust back in the voters. The bill we are introducing later today sends our proposal to this fall's ballot, meaning you, voters, will have the opportunity to vote for historic changes to receive immediate property tax relief and keep Colorado property tax rates at one of the lowest in the nation. But what really makes this proposal special is that while we can save Coloradans money on their property taxes in the short and the long term, we can also at the same time protect the funding for our schools, our fire districts, our local governments that we all rely on every day. So while we would be reducing the tax rate for the next 10 years at least, cutting property tax increases in half, and saving homeowners on average more than $1,000 over the next 2 years, we would also be ensuring the public services that we all rely on don't get the short end of the stick. As our state continues to grow and change, we must be thoughtful about building systems that allow folks at every income level in every corner of this state to afford to thrive in the communities that they call home. This November, we have the opportunity to build towards a Colorado everyone can afford to live in. I believe this proposal has the power to transform our state and to do very big things while making sure it continues to be the affordable and great place that brought us all here to begin with. I look forward to the work ahead and working with all of these great leaders to get this across the finish line and to get this bill passed, and then to let Coloradans know about what is in this proposal and that relief is on its way. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you, President Fenberg. I just wanted to add a few details to this important discussion that we're launching today with this new bill. I was pleased to be a sponsor last year of Senate Bill 238. It provided about $1 billion plus of property tax relief over 2 years, and this package will more than double that relief for Colorado homeowners. You heard the governor mention what this might mean for an average homeowner in the state of Colorado. We're essentially cutting the impact of the property tax valuation changes in half or more for taxpayers around the state. That means if you have an average home, as was mentioned, it's about $1,100 or so of additional tax liability if no action is taken. With this bill, we're going to be bringing that down to below $500. That is a major impact on people's monthly budgets, and I'm really proud to be a part of this important effort. The other thing that's important to mention is this plan also includes senior homestead portability. This has been something we've struggled with to figure out a long-term solution to make sure that seniors who now qualify for the senior homestead exemption can use that exemption even if they have to downsize or change their home situation. That's a very important part of this package, and it means that folks that have that exemption, seniors on fixed income, they are going to be able to use that exemption for the rest of their lives, even if they change their housing situation. So that's one of the things I want to make sure we highlight and make sure voters understand. As this is in front of everyone on the ballot this November, we have a chance to make major structural reform to how we do property taxes, long-term relief, and build on the success we had last year from Senate Bill 238. So I'm so pleased to be a part of this effort, and I'll now turn it over to my colleague, the Speaker Pro Tem, DeGree Kennedy.
Thank you, Senator Hansen. You know, one of the things that I really want to emphasize in my remarks is about what we're doing to make sure that our school districts, our fire districts, and our county child welfare offices are kept whole. You know, there have been ballot measures proposed in recent years, including this year, that would have a devastating impact on our ability to fund these critical services in our communities. But what I believe we found with this piece of legislation is a responsible and balanced approach that both delivers the property tax reductions that people are going to need to keep up with the high cost of living without undercutting the ability of our local governments to keep up with these critical services. What we're going to be doing is using backfill from the Tabor surplus to help provide for these reimbursements for the local governments and making sure that they're able to help pay firefighters more, pay teachers more to help them live in their communities, and staff up their child welfare departments where there's a lot of work to be done that very much needs to be done. I'll keep mine short for now and introduce my colleague, Representative Mike Weissman.
All right, thank you everyone for being here. I really just wanted to underscore a few themes that some of my colleagues have struck going back to Senate Bill 238, and that's really the importance of balance. I was also a co-prime sponsor of the legislation last year, and that came out of really careful deliberation about how we could achieve exactly what the governor alluded to. How do we help people grapple with rising property values and thus rising property taxes, and how do we continue to allow schools to be able to fund education for our kids and local districts to provide services like parks, libraries, emergency response that people need. This legislation that we'll introduce today comes out of that same dedication to striking a balanced approach. We know that people, regardless of party, want their schools funded. We know that people need fire response to arrive quickly. We know that they want libraries and other community amenities like parks that are funded by property taxes. At the same time, some parts of our state in particular, I'll use my own city, Aurora, as an example, have seen profound increases in valuation. I represent North Aurora. You look at some homes in our city, going back 10 years, prices have tripled. Going back to the housing crash, prices have quadrupled in some cases. Nobody's wages have quadrupled. So what we're doing today is a careful, balanced approach to reduce the property taxes that people will pay while protecting funding to schools and other local governments to help people stay in homes that they've worked so hard to achieve and stay grounded in their communities and places they love in our state. Thank you.
Okay, Daniel Ramirez is a business owner, and he's going to share a little bit about how this helps businesses of all sizes and small businesses in our state. Daniel.
Hello, everyone. Buenas tardes. My name is Daniel Ramirez, and I'm the co-CEO of Ramirez Hospitality Group. So what Ramirez Hospitality Group is, we are Los Dos Potrillos Cervecería, Los Dos Potrillos Express, Los Dos Potrillos Los Tacos, and of course, Los Dos Cocina y Cantina we just opened in North Glen this past month. I want to thank Governor Polis and all the legislative leaders for their work to find a better solution that will save a lot of money for our businesses like myself and a lot of others. Like others, I've seen property taxes that have gone up the last couple of years, And I fear that what could happen if action is never taken, that we will end up hurting towards the back end. And this bill is going to end up helping a lot of us, and everything that we end up saving is going to be able to help us reinvest back into our employees and back into our wonderful staff. I like to say is Colorado's helped us create our American dream, and now it's our job as business owners to help creating our employees' American dream. When I first started Los Dos Potrillos, my father had $5.32 left in his pocket. We grew from 1,500 square feet, 25 employees, to 4,900 square feet. And now, today, by the end of this year, we'll have over 500 employees and 6 businesses across Colorado. We worked hard to get here today, and it hasn't been easy, that is for sure. Every business owner knows here in Colorado the struggle of making your business successful, and the impact of relief that is being proposed today will help. I know I'm not alone in this, and I'm also very excited that this proposal to see it move forward as we continue moving in the right direction. I'd like to introduce Rosa as well. Muy buenos.
I'll be translating for Rosa, so.
Hola, buenas tardes. Yo soy Rosa Bañuelos. Quiero agradecer al gobernador Polis y los líderes legislativos para invitarme hoy aquí. He trabajado duro durante toda mi vida para ganarme la vida. Mi marido trabajó por 25 años para el ferrocarril y yo trabajé por 10 años en una lavandería y como limpiadora. Hace unos 27 años mi esposo murió, así que estoy viviendo sola en mi casa.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm happy to be here today and share my story. I want to thank Governor Polis and the legislative leaders for having me here today. I've worked very hard throughout my life to earn a living. My husband worked for 25 years for the railroads, and I worked for 10 years in a laundromat and as a cleaner. About 27 years ago, my husband died, so it's just me living alone in my house.
En los últimos años he visto mis facturas de impuestos sobre la propiedad más del triple. En el 2020 pagaba $900 en mis impuestos sobre la propiedad y en el 2022 he pagado $2,800. Para pagar esta factura tengo que limitarme severamente mis gastos con el fin de ahorrar suficiente para mis impuestos.
Over the past few years, I've seen my property tax bill more than triple. In 2020, I paid $900 in property taxes. In 2022, I paid $2,800. To pay that bill, I've had to severely restrict my spending to save enough money to make the payments.
Mi casa es muy importante para mí, no puedo perderla porque mi factura de impuestos sobre la propiedad es demasiado alta.
My home is very important to me, and I can't lose it just because my property tax bill is too high.
Me preocupa que los aumentos es demasiado alto, entonces no tendré suficiente dinero para pagar los impuestos de otros elementos necesarios que me privo. Mis sobrinos me ayudan con dinero para lo necesario y estoy agradecida por todo esto, por ellos, toda mi familia. Pero me temo que podría perder mi casa por completo si mi factura de impuestos se pone demasiado alta. Esto es terrible.
I worry that if the increase is too high, I won't have enough money to pay for things I need like food. My nephew sometimes gives me money for things that I need, and I'm grateful for that. But I fear I would lose my home altogether if the tax bill gets too high, and that would be devastating.
Estoy agradecida de que preocupada, además de la acción legislativa anterior, ayudará a ahorrar unos $600 en mi factura de impuestos. Utilizaría los ahorros de estos de estos impuestos para pagar el gas, las reparaciones de mi automóvil y de mi casa porque no puedo yo hacer nada. Es esenciales como la comida y el jabón, que es lo que necesita más. Y si es posible, también me gustaría usar los ahorros para visitar a mi hermana en México, que ella está muy enferma y yo no tengo dinero para ir a verla. Este es un problema urgente para mí, para muchas otras personas de Colorado. Me alegraría ver nuestros líderes presentando una solución por todos nosotros. Gracias.
I'm so grateful that with this proposal, in addition to other legislative action, will help save me nearly $600 a year on my taxes. I would use the savings from this proposal to pay for gas, car repairs, and essentials like food or soap, whichever I need more. And if possible, I would use the savings to visit my sister in Mexico who is in very poor health. This is an urgent issue for myself and so many other Coloradans, and I'm glad to see our legislative leaders bringing forward a solution. Thank you.
Gracias. Disculpen a todos porque no sé hablar.
She's sorry that she can't speak English, but el razón que está usted aquí es porque necesitamos conversar con
Sí, que
nuestros
ellos
residentes
sepan.
quien hablan español.
Exactamente, que ellos
Gracias.
hablen español. Gracias.
Gracias. And Brooke Zerbata.
Hello, my name is Brooke Zerbato, and I'm happy to be here today to talk about the impact that rising property taxes has had on my own family, but as well as the families I work with as a realtor. I want to thank Governor Polis and our legislative leaders for bringing attention to this critical issue and for putting forward a solution that will help address it for families around the state. In the last few years, I have seen my property taxes nearly double. In 2019, we paid around $2,000 in property taxes, and just last year we paid $3,800. Now, thanks to previous work by our leaders in combination with this proposal, I will be saving nearly $600 on my property tax bill. Now, my husband and I are fairly budget conscious people. We even teach classes that help others managing their finances. And while we are fortunate to be able to make these higher payments work within our budget, they are still a strain on our finances. Higher tax bills combined with high cost of groceries and overall inflation has made us cut back on investing in our future. We are having to choose between investing in our retirement funds and paying our tax bills while also supporting our 2 children. But we know we are not alone. As a realtor, I work with people from all walks of life who are wondering whether they can live and buy in our state because of these bills. And many clients are selling because of it. I've had to tell clients that they can't afford homes because of tax bills. I also have clients who have bought a new build townhome that started out paying around $4,000 in taxes, and they are now paying close to $8,000 per year. And while I'm fortunate my family has not reached this point, many of my clients are having to choose between activities for their children, like baseball and dance classes, and paying their taxes. You shouldn't have to be rich for your kids to do special activities that will help them grow and gain confidence. When everything is increasing except your pay, it's really hard to thrive. People aren't looking for handouts, they are just looking for an opportunity to build a life here in our state without breaking the bank. So I'm thankful that we have leaders in Colorado who understand the pressure people are under and are taking action to provide relief. Thank you.
So on behalf of the business community, the education community, the legislators who are here, I'd like to ask the voters of Colorado to vote yes on this initiative to responsibly reduce property taxes this November. And with that, happy to take some questions.
Marion? Yeah, my understanding is that this bill also addresses second homes and homes in resort communities such as short-term rentals. How does that work?
And by the way, we're joined by State Treasurer Dave Young. I don't want to forget that. Dave, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Marianne, for the question. So I want to be clear, this bill does not have any overlap with the short-term rental issue. I think that's something we'll continue to look at in the interim and continue to look for solutions. This bill does, however, have more relief for primary residential homeowners, less relief for second and third homes. So there is differentiation there, but we're not touching the short-term rental issue. Yep.
Governor, two questions for you. Will you lead the campaign to increase the Tabor cap? And last time you led a campaign to increase the Tabor cap, it didn't go so well. Voters rejected it. What makes you think this time will be different?
Well, was that both questions, or was that just one of them? I'm excited to support this property tax cut for Colorado. I think it's absolutely critical. Nobody should be forced out of where they live just because the prices have gone up. We've heard from Rosa today. There are hundreds of thousands of Coloradans like Rosa who risk being forced to sell their home simply because they can't keep up with property taxes if we don't reduce it. Young families like Brooks, whom the $600 could go to saving for retirement or their kids' after school or summer activities. So this is an imperative right now. I certainly look forward to working with the business community and many other supporters to make sure that voters are aware of the importance of delivering on these property tax cuts this November.
And what makes it different than the last time?
What was the last time?
Prop CC.
Well, this is a very different proposal. This is a property tax cut proposal, and then it uses some of the surplus money to backfill. I think voters want to backfill schools and ambulance districts and fire districts. So I think voters want to see two things. They want to see property tax relief. As a state, we want to provide also property tax relief to businesses to be more competitive, to grow good jobs. As Daniel said, much of the benefit will go to increased employee pay, which is great. And at the same time, we all want to make sure we don't defund our schools or our ambulances or our fire districts while we're providing property tax relief. Because of Colorado's strong economy and record surplus, we're able to do both. We're able to reduce property taxes, and we're able to ensure that we don't harm our ability to fund our schools, our fire districts, and our libraries.
So how would this affect growth in local share? Would growth in local share be less for school districts?
Who wants to address that?
Yeah, thank you. That's a really great question. And, you know, the growth in local share will still be positive under this proposal. That was one of the main arguments that we brought to the voters when we talked about the Gallagher Amendment removal from the Constitution. That remains the case under this package. And so Prop HH, which will be the ballot label for this proposition, will still maintain positive local share for K-12.
Will it be less than it would have been otherwise?
Well, it certainly will adjust it, but remember the backfill mechanism that we're talking about will keep K-12 whole. So that's, I think, a really important headline of this whole package is that the school districts are going to continue to get that local support. The property tax relief that we're delivering to homeowners will, for the K-12 districts, will be backfilled by state support mechanisms.
And I had one more thing to answer for John, sorry. We still project very strong surpluses even after this initiative is passed. There is still a substantial surplus in all of our projections.
Do you all have a plan B if this doesn't clear the legislature, if it doesn't pass? I don't see any Republicans up here, and obviously they're
I think, you know, maybe Mike Kopp and JJ might be Republicans. This is vastly popular. I think I'll let the legislators speak on this too, but I think the path to the ballot is clear, and I'm confident the voters want property tax relief and don't want to defund our schools. So I'm very optimistic for passage this November. If any of you want to address legislative.
Yeah, just one quick comment to add. There is a companion bill that we're going to be launching in parallel with the package we've just discussed that makes some reforms on the assessment side, and we think we will have strong bipartisan support for that part of the package. So there are some other moving pieces here that I think will garner support across the aisle.
And just a follow-up question, obviously this might not be the only property tax measure on the ballot. I see Mr. Wasserman over there in the corner. I don't know if CEA or Bell Policy Center is committed to not pursuing their package of property tax measures should this make the ballot.
Well, again, I don't know what other people will put on the ballot. I think who you see up here are people that support this ballot initiative. So business, community, education, and the broader the coalition, the better it needs to pass. This is what's coming from the legislators in this building. Obviously, the people can do whatever they sign and gets on the ballot, but this is the most thoughtful, best policy proposal to give people relief without jeopardizing funding for our schools. And it took a lot of work to get there, business community, education, legislators, so many others, thoughtful discussion. I'm very excited to see it come to fruition, and I look forward to seeing its passage this November.
So this bill tries to kind of say that property taxes should increase roughly at inflation, not too much more, seems to be the idea. The rent stabilization bill tried to say the same thing about rent levels, but did not succeed. I think renters will want to know, what will you do, if anything, for them along a similar line?
So first of all, when you look at a rental property, just like other properties in the Denver metro area homes, let's talk about a single family home, multifamily as well. If the property tax bill was scheduled to go up $1,100 a year, that's basically passed along to renters. If we reduce that to $500, that's what gets passed along to renters. So renters benefit directly from reducing the property tax rate that also impacts the home that they happen to rent.
There's other market forces involved with setting rent rates, right?
With what?
There's other market forces involved with setting rent rates.
Oh, there are so many, but we're talking about this bill, right? I know there's the quantity of housing, there's a million other bills on housing, it's a big priority for us. But I mean, on this particular bill, if property taxes went up that much, renters would pay that much more. So we want to solve for that. Obviously, this particular initiative can't solve for everything related to housing or renters or everything under the sun.
Thank you.
Good, thanks. Thank you. Thanks, Dave.